Hey everyone, it's Zach Beck. The United States House of Representatives recently passed a scaled-back version of the HEROES Act. It's a $2.2 trillion package that provides not only stimulus checks, but other measures that are in this bill that allow finances to come to Americans who are hurting due to the pandemic. So what I want to do in this video is discuss what those modifications are, how they would impact you directly, and what you should be doing right now in preparation of this bill becoming law. So let's jump into it right now. As previously mentioned, the HEROES Act would provide a second round of stimulus checks to those in need, and specifically it would go as follows. It would provide $1,200 to those who are individuals, $2,400 to joint filers, as well as $500 for qualified dependents. The income limitations are the same, but some eligibility requirements have actually been relaxed. For example, the age limitation on qualified dependents has been lifted, allowing full-time students who are under the age of 24 and adult dependents to qualify for the $500 payment. In addition, there is no limit on the number of dependents that would qualify. So this is a significant change from how the legislation was previously enacted when the first round of stimulus checks went out. The HEROES Act would also continue the $600 a week federal pandemic unemployment compensation program, so that would actually enable people to have additional unemployment on top of whatever their state is providing. Now this would also be retroactive back to September 6, 2020, but also would extend all the way through January 31st, 2021, totaling in 21 weeks of unemployment benefits. So this is a very significant change that's being proposed in comparison to where we are currently. The HEROES Act also expands eligibility for and the amount of the Earned Income Tax Credit. For those with no qualifying dependents, what you would find is it decreases the age from 25 to 19 on the lower end and also decreases it from 66 to 65 on the upper end. In addition to that, what it does is it actually increases the amount of the Earned Income Tax Credit from $538 all the way up to $1,487. In addition, it also allows individuals to substitute their 2019 income for their 2020 income when it actually comes to actually calculating their earned income tax credit. So from that standpoint, it actually will expand people's ability to actually apply for this because many people were hurt financially due to the pandemic by either job loss or furlough, so their income in 2020 potentially is lower than what it was in 2019. Another benefit of the HEROES Act is it provides the child tax credit. The House bill makes the child tax credit fully refundable in 2020. Under current law, it is only refundable for up to $1,400. So what we're going to find is this modification would actually take that and allow people to actually receive a refund of $2,000 if this bill were to become law. An example of this would be, say if you had a family of 4 with 2 children, it would allow them to receive up to $4,000 of the child tax credit versus the $2,800 they would receive right now. In addition, in this piece of legislation, it would direct the Treasury Secretary to issue these payments before the tax refunds actually go out. So hopefully this would act as another round of stimulus, getting people money into their pockets before next spring when people actually be receiving their tax refunds. This bill would also make significant change when it comes to dependent care assistance, and specifically when it relates to the child and dependent care tax credit. What it would actually do is modify this pretty significantly. It would double the credit from $3,000 all the way up to $6,000. Furthermore, it increased the income phase-out threshold from $15,000 all the way up to $120,000. And it makes the credit fully refundable, and it increases the maximum credit rate from 35% to 30%. So this is a significant change for those who are caring for those in need. And this is especially important for those who might be caring for an adult who has special needs or for a child who has some sort of physical ailment. So being aware of this particular change would be significant and could provide significant relief to those who are having to manage not only the issues of the pandemic and the recession, but also the personal challenges of caring for someone who has these kinds of special needs. Another element of the HEROES Act is actually for SNAP support, and what SNAP is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, often referred to as food stamps. And this is for people who cannot afford to actually bring food into their household, so this is an important program for those in need. When it comes to this particular measure in this particular bill, it increases the SNAP program benefit level by 15%, so basically changing it from someone who would receive about $16 a month to $30 a month through September 30th of 2021, so basically for the next year. it would also lift the mandatory work requirements for the next year for someone who would actually be able to receive SNAP, because most people who need to receive SNAP actually have to have some sort of work in order to be able to receive that level of assistance. In addition, it would remove any unemployment income as a calculation measure for being able to qualify for this program, and furthermore, it would prevent students from losing SNAP benefits due to their work or job study loss. There are a number of other elements of the HEROES Act that we should discuss as well. First would be the rental assistance. In this bill, they would authorize $50 billion for an emergency rental assistance program. This program would assist tenants with actually paying rent and utility bills. It would also help landlords cover the costs, because you might actually be experiencing this right now. We had obviously the eviction moratoriums that were put in place basically throughout the United States of America over the course of this pandemic, but you might be struggling right now to pay your rent, pay your mortgage, or anything to that extent. So this particular rental assistance would assist those who aren't able to afford their rent right now. In addition, there's $21 billion allocated to assist homeowners, specifically for paying their mortgage, paying utility bills, paying property tax, insurance, and really covering those costs right now so that way they can continue moving forward. There would also be $400 billion allocated to state and local governments to make sure that they're retaining infrastructure, police and firefighters are on the streets, and local governments are continuing to operate. So that $400 billion is a pretty hefty tag, but it would also keep things moving forward. This bill would also authorize $225 billion in educational support to go to struggling schools, because right now those schools are having a difficult time not only with distance learning, but also maintaining enough revenue right now because of all the issues associated with a recession. In addition, this bill would continue and expand student loan relief. Now, I recently made a video about this when you talked about what the different presidential candidates stand on this issue. I'll put a link right here, you can check it out. But from that standpoint, this would also give you some insight as to where the direction of this would go if this piece of legislation were to become law. You might be asking yourself, where do things stand right now, and is this bill actually going to become law? Well, recently, United States Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin has been meeting with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, and they are trying to work something out to actually have this become actual law. Now, an important thing to understand politically is that this bill was passed in the House of Representatives, which currently is controlled by the Democratic Party. Now, the United States Senate is currently controlled by the Republican Party, so we could imagine that if this bill were to be passed as it is right now by the House of Representatives, now it has to go over to the United States Senate. It would be modified slightly in order for actually to maybe be slightly more conservative. It might reduce the amount because the Republicans would do that to it most likely. And then it would have to be signed by the Republican president, who is currently Donald Trump. Now, this obviously could change if things were to take time and we wait until after the inauguration. If we had a new president, say Joe Biden became president, and a different Senate, things might change. But as things currently stand, that's where we are right now. This bill has been passed by the United States House of Representatives. Nancy Pelosi is negotiating with the Treasury Secretary, and I believe the Treasury Secretary intends then to take this to the Senate to actually have further negotiations and try and find some sort of a way to actually pass a measure. And I know there's political pressure on both sides of the aisle to pass this before the election, because bear in mind, in the House of Representatives, every single member of the House of Representatives is up for election right now. Every representative has to get elected every 2 years. Senators, on the other hand, have to get elected every 6 years. So you have some vulnerable senators right now who'd be very motivated to actually vote on this piece of legislation right now, but you might senators right now who aren't up for re-election who might not be as concerned. And this is where the politics are super important to understand, because there's a lot of intricacy and nuance and vested interest in all of this happening right now. But my encouragement is that you, as an individual who might be struggling, you might be unemployed, you might have been furloughed, you might actually be sick, you might just be struggling financially. And if that is the case, I'm very sorry that it's happening to you right now, but my hope is that something gets done for these individuals to actually put some additional money into your pocket so that way you can become financially whole. Now, when I talk about this, I do understand that we're looking at government trying to solve significant problems, and I understand also that the government cannot do that for everyone, because really we need to have the personal responsibility to do what we can to manage our wealth, to manage our finances well, to be able to become wealthy long term. But at the same token, the circumstances of everyone's life is very distinct and very different, and when the government comes in, it's basically trying to set up things in the most fair way possible, so that way everyone is receiving the amount of aid they need for something that they cannot personally do anything about. You and I cannot do anything about the economy staying open or closed. The governors are deciding that right now. We cannot do anything about this happening with right now when it comes to the actual pandemic. That illness, we can just take our own personal measures on that, but we cannot wish it away. So understanding that the government is trying to put into place something that would provide relief, so that way hopefully we get through this particular situation and out on the other side, so that we maybe months from now or a year from now, we're all sitting in a better situation, allowing ourselves to move forward financially and achieving our personal long-term goals. So that's just what I want to give you, is kind of a holistic framework of where things are and how you and I can actually be involved in the process. And the way that we can best be involved is to contact our representatives and vote. So if you do those things, I think that's a great approach to take, encouraging family and friend to do the same thing. I'm not encouraging you to vote a specific way. If you vote Republican, great. If you vote Democrat, great. I do not really care where you vote. I just am most concerned that you are actively engaged in our democracy and you're doing everything you can to make an impact here. And also, most importantly, that you're getting the relief that you so desperately need and so desperately deserve. With all that being said, I'd like to thank you for watching the video today. If you wouldn't mind, please like the video. That would really help the channel out for the YouTube algorithm, help push this video to other people who might need to hear it. In addition, if you have any questions, please comment down below. I'd love to interact with you, get to know you, answer any questions on your behalf, and do any research on your behalf. Furthermore, if you wouldn't mind, please subscribe to the channel. That would mean a lot to myself personally, as I do everything I can to create content that will make a positive impact in your life by encouraging you and myself to lead lives of meaning and purpose, all while maintaining balance and moderation. And if you do subscribe to the channel, please tap the notification bell. That will notify you every time I post a video, which I do on a weekly basis. Once again, I'd like to thank you for watching the video today. I look forward to talking to you next time. Have a great day.